Alright, how's it going everyone? This is the week 15, yes, week 15 update of building our Ryan home St. Lawrence, and as we approach the final stages of construction here with our new build, there is still a lot more to talk about along the exterior and interior, so without further ado, let's get into it. So on the exterior side, what you're really going to first notice is the fact that the largest updates really aren't with the house necessarily, but the property around it. So one of those being, of course, that we have had the at least first phase of having our asphalt driveway poured. So yes, this is not what will be the final layer. You can see a few lips here towards the garage doors or where the sidewalk meets that kind of show the dip, the fact that this is sort of an initial laying of it. But for the first time, we can actually now walk up to our home without tracking a bunch of mud in. That is certainly an improvement over past weeks. And it gives an overall good layout of what this site plan for the home really looks like. You can see with at least how they've done this community, we have really a 2-car bay driveway apron that sort of juts out to where the 3rd car garage extension is. And of course, as you can now see, the concrete that was poured along the week 14 mark, which if you haven't seen that video yet, I will leave a link to above and in the description below that you can check out. That concrete has now fully cured, and so our sidewalk, driveway apron, and the main walk up to our front porch, those are all areas we can and did walk on and check out, and those look good as well. And of course, the other thing that you can see here that is evident when looking at the overall site plan and the property is the fact that we now have had seed laid for where our grass will go. So I believe the front and sides of the property are supposed to get sod, at least eventually at some point, and the yard will remain seeded, but it does look like they have laid at least an initial layer of seed here. But this did give us an opportunity to walk around the sides and rear of the home and capture some of that, which we haven't gotten to do a lot of, at least as far as just regular walking and maybe handheld footage goes. We have, of course, captured this with our drone, but nice to get a closer look at things here. You can see, found a couple small details of things that we think still need to be covered, from this broken vent you can see here to some of the trim detail that still needs to be done, which a lot of this is starting to shape up a bit more. We have noticed some minor changes here, but those are all little items we'll be following up with our PM on. Now, the other thing you may note here as you look along the exterior is that many of the broken windows we previously had have now been or in the process of being replaced. I would say maybe around 80% of these have now been fixed. We still do have a couple that need to be swapped out, and in fact one that has a grid or pattern of lights, LITES, that don't match the elevation K and L windows Ryan uses for their homes, so our PM's aware of that and they're definitely going to swap that out once they're able to. Now, along the community progress front, I did count, at least at this stage, 22 homes now under construction. So our PM did mention to us at one point that they were intending to start one house a week. Given this is the week 15 mark, it means they have actually done a bit more than this, but we now have a really good chunk of the community under construction. For what it's worth, 5 models under construction here in this particular community. By far the most popular seems to be the Corsica at this point, which is not a surprise given the main model of the community is a Corsica. So we have roughly half of the homes, I would say at this point, under construction or built that are Corsicas. Probably followed by the Versailles. I think I've noted about 5 of these now being built at various stages in their construction progress in the community. And then we have our model, the St. Lawrence, which I've counted, I think, 3 now currently under construction, at least that I can confirm. We have a couple of Powells, and I do see, I think, at least 1 Roanoke. It'll be a little bit tough to tell until they start the framing stage, but at least 1 of those now underway as well. Of course, they still will be building here for another year plus, I would say, but something always worth thinking about in terms of how long your community or your house, your neighbors will still be active construction sites. Which, also worth noting, I do think Ryan has done a pretty good job of this in terms of keeping dirt, debris outside of our particular site as it nears completion. You can see our neighbor's St. Lawrence build that is now under construction. I think they've managed this pretty well thus far. Time will tell if that remains the case going forward or as our other neighbor on the right side of us gets built. But that is something I've, of course, also been keeping an eye on. You can also see the area of shingles where they did the repair and our blow-off occurred around the week 13 point. This should blend within around a month or 2 of time, which our PM did mention to us, and of course we are keeping an eye on that. But of course, a lot of the progress that's taken place in the past week or so has still been along the interior, so let's take a look inside and see what's progressed there. So one of the first things you're going to notice at the week 15 mark of progress is that we have now officially entered the blue tape period. So what does this mean? Ultimately, a lot of Ryan's finishing crews, this is especially true around the drywall and trim area. You're going to see a ton, and I do mean a ton of areas that are patched or have been patched or are in the process of being patched. Mostly these are to repair areas of noticeable damage. I believe it's from a 2 or 3 feet vantage point, meaning if you can stand a few feet from it and still notice the damage, it is something that is worth being repaired or that Ryan would consider repairing. So now many parts of the home at this stage have different marks of blue tape, or perhaps did and are now in the process of being patched. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, and we'll keep up with our PM as we see that progressing. But again, if there is an area of the home that really got a boost in terms of progress, it is definitely the kitchen. So a couple of things worth noting here. You may notice the fact that our backsplash has been installed in the kitchen at this point. So this is a 3x12 subway tile in a finish known as beach sand gloss. So this is something Ariel picked out to match with the kitchen cabinets, the counters, and I think looks really good. Not a pure white, but has a nice little bit of color, and the gloss adds a nice touch to it. But of course, the other big addition that has taken place here in the kitchen is the installation of appliances. So, worth noting, we did get the standard appliance package that was offered with our particular build and the community. Ryan uses a bunch of different codes for this. In this case, this is the 4FQSS package. SS in this case meaning stainless steel. And so yes, our community did come with stainless steel appliances as a default. And Ariel, being the chef of the house, I don't use that word lightly, she's a great cook, really decided that there wasn't any value in getting the additional wall oven and microwave upgrade, or even the regular upgrade of sort of slide-in appliances. And so in this case, I was curious to see what the appliance package would include, and I do think there are some nice touches to this. So the oven and range, and yes, we did get gas for our cooktop, that was a $500 upgrade, does have an additional 5th burner for a griddle area, and yes, gas was running and working with this. And yes, this oven and range does include an integrated vent hood, as you can see here. The built-in microwave looks pretty nice. Good amount of room for cooking things, and has all the typical presets you'd expect for different types of foods. The dishwasher is one of GE's slightly better models. It does have the top-mounted controls, among other things. And yes, all these appliances, I believe this is true across the board with Ryan RGE. We didn't get the refrigerator or washer and dryer. We are going to purchase these separately ourselves, which yes, Ryan does have a heavier markup if you do purchase these from them. So worth noting, those are probably getting separately if you do want to save a few grand. But overall, this kitchen is now looking nearly complete. And yes, fun fact, we now do have what I would consider fully running and working water. You can see here with the kitchen faucet now running and working as we would expect, which if you saw our week 14 update video, which leave a link to above and in the description below that you can check out, you will know that the water flow at this point wasn't quite 100% yet. Looks like we are now fully operational here. And another fun fact here, I will say, if you are someone that didn't get the under cabinet lighting and you're wondering what this might look like without under cabinet lighting, bear in mind that at least with this particular St. Lawrence floor plan and our combination of options, you do get lights with the integrated vent hood, and you do get a light with the top mount microwave, and so you do kind of get a little bit of under cabinet lighting, maybe unintentionally or indirectly. Might need to decide if that's really something you think you need versus a nice to have. Now, on the first level, a couple of other things worth noting. At this point, we do have the slate surround for the floor in front of the fireplace, which is nice to see. You can see the glass door has been swapped out for a standard 2.6 Craftsman style door in the study area, so thank you, Matt, or PM, for taking care of that. Of course, at this point, you'll also see the floors have now been uncovered, so you can see the pre-engineered hardwood in all its glory, but we did notice one of our pre-engineered floorboards had some damage. We did point that out to our PM. So I think as your build nears its final stages, trust that they're doing their job, and doesn't hurt to point out little defects here and there that you think might have been missed or might not be covered, or at least ask about them just to make sure that they're on your PM's radar. And so now let's take a trip upstairs, which yes, as you can see, they're at the point of being nearly ready to stain our main set of stairs from the first to the second floor. So they've already done some work in terms of the banister and handrails for the staircase, but this work on the main tread should be taking place, I believe, within the next week or so. Now upstairs, the big addition you're going to see here, and this is also true in the basement, which you'll see later, is the addition of carpet. So carpet looks to have been completely installed, and yes, in the loft area, you'll see that mismatching window pane there that will be swapped out later. But this carpet is what's known as Enchanted Havana. That is at least color or finish, and apparently there is an upgraded carpet pad under this. We didn't pay for that. That was just part of our Laurent package that we picked for the interior. I would say this looks good and certainly feels good overall. We did walk around the house in these areas in our socks just to keep it clean. And of course, in terms of the other areas, I would say our bathrooms, like the owner's bathroom here, largely going to be complete at this point. A fun fact, it does look like our thermostats are at least partly working. Did see heat going here as far as our thermostats go and reading the active temperature, so that is good to see. Now again, as we look through the different secondary bedrooms, mostly just the addition of carpet to make note of. and some more final finishing work in terms of all of the blue tape items that I mentioned earlier, such as in this area with the hall bathroom. And again, just to note, yes, I did do a little bit of testing with some of these fixtures. We do have running water in the bathrooms as well, so that's good. And so now as we make our way down to the basement, of course, the big change here is, much like the second floor, carpet. So the carpet being added down here, maybe save for some more blue tape work, pretty much means our basement is largely good to go. Definitely a notable difference in temperature stepping on this carpet with the coolness of the concrete floors below it versus say on the second floor, but that is to be expected. And of course with areas like the basement bathroom, the basement bedroom with the closet there, these now look to be pretty much good to go, I would say. Now on the basement utility side, really not much of a change, at least compared to the past week's updates. You'll see the old propane heater there now having a temporary home, but I do see the addition of some spray foam in a few new areas, such as where the two sump pumps for the home are. We do have a little bit of spare carpet now hanging out here under the basement stairs. And so that is the week 15 update. Save for a few finishing details, we have an exterior that looks almost complete, and I think maybe for the first time along the interior now, I can finally say the same. Now hopefully this video has been of some help to you. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if it has. If you're just coming across this video for the first time, you will definitely want to go back through the entirety of videos along this Reinholm St. Lawrence build series on the channel. So I would encourage you to start at week 1 and work your way up to now if you haven't. And of course, for those of you that have been following along, there is still more to go. For now, that's all I have to say. So thanks for watching.